Let's get more on this. Bilal Salaymeh joins us now from Ankara as a researcher in the Foreign Policy Department at the political think tank, the SETA Foundation. Many thanks for speaking to us, Bilal. So, is an invasion of Idlib now inevitable, or do you think there may be some last-ditch deal with rebel groups that may prevent it from happening?
First, thank you for having me. I don't think that the attack in Idlib will be coming in 2 days or 3 days. I think there will be a negotiation to have a middle ground between the oppositions and represented by Turkey and the regime side represented by Russia. I think what's going on now is a kind of show of strength. Mainly now we are speaking about Russia is going to have a naval exercise in the Mediterranean. Reports on regime's deployment in northern Hama. But I do think that some of this show of strength is just to impose more pressure on the opposition and armed factions, Syrian armed group, to accept a middle ground solution that will be accepted from the regime side also. And I want also to mention here the Turkish initiatives to have a political solution and to avoid a military attack from the regime on the ground. So I think, okay, that we have on the ground a lot of signs that would be an attack, mainly the regime deployments, some reports of preparation for using chemical weapons, but at the same time we have political initiatives and meetings that are going on. Last week we have Foreign Ministry of Turkey, Defense Ministry and the Chief of Intelligence were in Moscow, and they met with the Russian counterparts. In the next week we have also another meeting in Tehran. And also we all know that there is a kind of negotiation here in Ankara. Turkey tries to impose a pressure more in the regime, on the armed factions, and especially on the radicalized or what's considered terrorist organization group, so to dissolve themselves and avoid the excuse that Russia and the regime are using to attack Idlib.
You sound very optimistic on these talks between Turkey and Russia. Why do you think that Turkey has the ability to influence Russia on this decision especially when you see sort of their past behavior when it comes to invading different parts of Syria?
Of course, I'm not that much optimistic, but I want to mention here what already Lavrov has said in your report, in your reportage. Lavrov was saying that Turkey is working out now on differentiating the Syrian armed groups from the terrorist groups. So this discourse from Russian foreign ministry is different from the discourse of the Syrian regime and Walid al-Muallim, the foreign minister for the Syrian regime, who is saying that all the armed groups in Idlib are terrorist groups, and this is the discourse of the regime from the early beginning. So I'm saying that there are differences between the Syrian regime, who is willing to control all Syria, and this is the policy of the regime from the early beginning, military solution, and the Russian part. And I think Russia is understanding and appreciating Turkey being on the negotiating table. So from a Satana process, after that Sochi conference and what's going on, we have now also speaking about a committee for a new constitution. So being Turkey and the armed group on the table is very important for Russia to have a political solution in Syria. We are not speaking about treating only the humanitarian situation in Idlib, but also the whole political solution. And I think Russia is willing to have a political solution at the end of this gaining on the ground in Syria.
Many thanks for speaking to us. Bilal Salaymeh speaking to us from Ankara from the SETA Foundation.